thank you guys for coming out. I know it's a Thursday. I know you all called in to work or whatever you had to do to be here. Really appreciate it. My friend Drew here kind of was hollering at me about his show that's happening this evening, and can't wait to see you all there. But just talking about having some people come together. And it made me think about a quote that I pondered through my work with Unlimited Sciences, our psychedelic research nonprofit, which is what kind of started UMBO, our functional mushroom company, Rashad and Jake and I. And I'm going to read this quote because I know there's a lot of people in here when we talk about athletes, artists, and activators. Many of you are athletes. Everyone's an athlete to some degree, I had to say. Everyone's an artist to another degree. And the activism or the things that are really important to you, that's where I feel like I fall into with a lot of the decrim psilocybin stuff that we do and the Unlimited Sciences work. But I also always find myself getting really caught up and taking things very personally. One of the 4 agreements that I do not stick to. But I'm trying to work on that. But the quote that kind of provoked this for me is by E.B. White, who wrote Charlotte's Web. And it goes like this. Every morning I awake torn between a desire to save the world and the inclination to savor it. This makes it very hard to plan the day. So that's the beginning. And then the second part that hit me harder after I heard the first part was, but if we forget to savor the world, what possible reason do we have for saving it? In a way, the savoring must come first. And so that hit me kind of hard because I again take things personally, trying to move psilocybin initiatives forward so much. There's people who do that here. Kevin, I don't know where he's at right now. Right in front, my man. Kevin's got his initiative that's popping off on the ballot on November 8th, 122. I was part of the Decrim Denver team with Kevin as the outreach director. There's a lot of noise around the initiative, but after reading the 18 pages, after knowing the opposition, being friends with a lot of them, I absolutely endorse what's going to happen in November, and I hope that that's something that we could push forward because we need to get back to enjoying life. So, but anyway, savoring the world, that's where I think like athletics and art kind of come into play. These are the things that make us human, the ability to create murals and all these, in music, all these things that make life worth living. So I thought we'd do athletes and artists talk today. And so we've got some tremendous artists who, some of them are athletes, most of them are athletes. Every one of these artists are athletes as well. And I'm going to pass the mic to my man, Jake the Snake Plummer. Let him introduce some folks, and we're going to have a nice conversation. So one final thing I'm going to say after this, after Rashad's panel, we're going to go grab some tacos at Los Chingones. Is that right? Right down the street, before we come back to the Satsang concert. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Really appreciate you all being here. And I think that this is going to be a fantastic day. So much love to all of you.
Thank you, Jolly Dale Jolly. I'd like to remind him he's a jolly man, that Dale Jolly. Great guy. Really the only reason I'm standing here is because of him and his continued connection and friendship to continue to just see something, see a light in me and help foster that light to bring it out to events like this, and also just to realize it in myself. That you have a light, you got to share it. You got to get out and get out in front of it and be authentic, be who you are. And so I, with much love, am grateful for Dale Jolly and what he's done here to spur this movement with UMBO, and not only with UMBO, but with Unlimited Sciences, and just a visionary. So I'm glad that to call Dale one of my best friends. So thank you, Dale. Bear with me because I'm fresh off a flight that landed late last night from Costa Rica. So I went from the jungle with some rain to Colorado with some rain, but it's pretty nice. I'm feeling at peace and really happy, and I want to know, is everybody out here feeling happy? Yeah? Cool. That was easy. Let's spend some happy time together, all right? This day and age, as as I get older, 47, not old, but as I age, I should say, I realize moments are really precious. Every moment is really precious. And I have a clock in my house, and wherever it has, the main numbers, it just says now. And so, what time is it, or where am I at, or what's going on? It's now. And so right now, you may be thinking about your work, or you may be thinking about what you're doing later. But if you can just center in with where we're at right now, then that's where we can all come together and our powers will multiply. And if the panelists can just come grab a seat, whatever stool you want. Are all these mics hot? Before I introduce this wonderful panel beside me, I'd like everybody just to get comfortable. I'm fresh off a yoga retreat, so yoga teacher training. So I'm going to have you breathe a little bit, because really, honestly, the first thing I started doing was box breathing about a couple years ago, and it sounds silly, and I thought, this is silly. I did it for a month, and it changed my life. It really showed me where I was holding tension. Realized, oh man, I can hardly take a full breath in without a pain in my neck and a pain in my side. So if everybody's centered in, we're going to just exhale your air and then just take one collective breath. And exhale. And as you breathe in, breathe in the love surrounding you, in this beautiful state of Colorado. And as you exhale, exhale whatever you need, some love back out to the world. As we come into being here together, we're here for a purpose. And it's because we're all artists, activists, athletes, and visionaries. So with that said, artists, they inspire, they activate emotions and feelings inside of us that you really can't explain. And all four of these wonderful humans beside me are artists and activists and athletes. And I'm going to start with Ryan here. I did take some notes just so I could hold it together. He's a magical human and a supporter of natural medicines. He's a true artist. If you've ever seen him on a skateboard, it's like he grew a skateboard off of his feet. And watching him, it's just amazing. It leaves you in awe. He's also a musician. His band Dino Kale rocks it out. He's one of my mushroom buddies and a true delight. And I'm happy to see you here. It's been a while, so welcome, Ryan Reyes.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Love you all.
They're going to get a speak here when I'm done, so don't worry, this won't take long. Chris Dyer is the next artist and activist, an amazing human, truly a medium for the great spirit. His works are honest soul expressions that leave one in a state of awe, aspiring all of us to aspiring to create oneness through love and his psychedelic expressions. If you ever haven't seen his work, check it out. Again, an artist where you look and go, wow, where did that come from? But definitely channeling something special. We're glad to have you here, Chris. Celia, I'm going to let her tell you her last name. Bourgon. It's French, so I'm not going to butcher it. But Celia is a dear friend. Our kids are really close. She helps do a lot of the homeschool groups up in Boulder. She's from the islands of Barbados, and she carries a light and grace with her as she strives to teach freedom through movement and dance, merging Eastern philosophy, New Age spirituality, and modern physics. She knows so many modalities: yoga, Thai massage, Pilates, and much more. If you just watch her move, you'll understand. So, Celia, it's great having you here. And down at the end, Drew McMAnus, a guy I've been grateful to have met. Haven't spent a whole lot of time with, but have spent some truly meaningful moments with. He's a true trailblazer and a soul traveler who expresses deep connections with nature and life through his music. His band Satsang is what we're here for to watch tonight. He's also a badass on the jiu-jitsu mat. He has a purple belt. And his new album, All Right Now, he's going out to tour And we could go into a lot more, but hey, living in Montana, living that good life, it's awesome to see you, Drew, and thanks for coming.
Likewise, bro.
All right. So we're going to talk mostly about art, artistic endeavors, and all of them, like I said, are artists, but a lot of them athletes also. I'm just going to throw out, a question to get you guys thinking about, your current state as an artist. How would you describe where you're at right now, what you're involved with, what you're, excited about, what you're passionate about right now? Starting with you, Ryan.
Okay. Let's see. I've been going through a transitional period in my life. I lost my grandfather and my dad this summer, and something that's been the catalyst for just keeping me together was just skateboarding and making music and drawing. Just whenever I wake up, I need to express myself, and if I don't, I feel kind of, I don't know, muted in a way. But I don't feel like myself unless I'm doing that, and it's been keeping me together. It's been nice.
Well, condolences for your father and grandfather. I know those are probably very influential people.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, let them inspire.
Yeah,
sure.
they're helping.
Where I'm at with my art right now? Well, art's an expression for me of where I'm at, and right now I'm in transition also. I think we're all in transition. I think we're all just going through lots of changes, lots of disillusions, relationships that used to be there for years, fading away, not in alignment anymore. So then there's newness coming, but I don't know what the new vibes will be. I'm just kind of like open and optimistic. And also my intention is just to push on forward and to be positive that everything will be okay in the end, regardless if right now I feel great or not. I don't feel that great many days, but that's part of the human experience, and that has lessons, and we're just evolving and growing, learning, teaching, and yeah, just being part of the flow. So that's where my art's right now, just kind of like going with the flow of everything and having faith that I'll land somewhere nice eventually, and so on.
All right. Well, you spoke of a couple topics we'll get to further down, with flow and transition and just moving. So, yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Celia?
I think I'm just constantly in a state of receptivity. That's where my art is, and I have no expectations. I just allow myself as a practice to sit in the space, and then if I see something, I try to create it. If I hear something, I create it, So that's it. I'm never aiming to create something. I just receive, and then I translate. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm also in a very crazy stage of transition right now. I had this moment at a festival the other weekend where I'm just like sitting there in this like heartbreak and this transition and this pain, and I like looked down at my guitar and I literally out loud was like, "You and me, kid." So like I form to know. It's how I make sense of the world, and what happens with me is in that creative process, I like hold up a mirror, and after I create, it usually is like the thing behind the thing, right? It's like the most distilled version of what I'm feeling going through, reflected back at me. So I'm just trying to be here for that, through this weird season that I found myself in, but I'm here for it.
That leads me to, kind of go on a little bit about, we're all in transition, which transition and change is inevitable in life. But those changes are not always easy. Sometimes they put you in dark places. You find yourself, depressed, alone. What is your guiding light, would you say? I mean, is it art, or is there other forms of expression along with that? Myself personally am finding out what I like to do to express and get through those tough times, because you can't just rely on your kids, or you can't rely on somebody, your best friend. You can't rely on people when you're in your own state of darkness. You really can call out to them, but really it's about yourself individually. So what is it that helps, guide you in that direction? What is there one thing you like to do that gets you through those tough moments?
I think it's not a particular activity, but finding the flow state in something, losing myself in something. Skateboarding really helps because like your life's kind of on the line, so you have to pay attention, but then so it focuses you. But like losing yourself in drawing or writing, so I don't know, talking to myself in my head, it's all kind of like an expression, I don't know.
Yeah, so flow state. I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, studying yoga just recently and like getting into meditation and understanding, meditation it doesn't happen naturally. It takes time, it takes practice. But when you hit that flow state, that state of being one with what you're involved in, is that where you get to when you get out in the skate park? Does it happen always? Or
yeah, I'll whoa, I just did that. I won't even remember the trick I just did, or if I'm drawing something, it will just be there. It'll just be there, and then I'll be like, oh, cool, someone drew that. It was apparently me, but yeah, that's how it feels, I guess.
And would you say on those times, are you clear? Are you using any type of plant medicines, natural medicines?
I tend to. It's a lot clearer when I'm like sober. Just whenever I'm using medicine, it's usually for some sort of intention. But when I get to the flow state, I'm so much easier without anything, just me. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that in your skating. I watch videos of you, and it's like when you get done, you kind of look back like, holy shit, did I just do that? What? And you're smiling and like so. It's like a little kid. I see a little kid just flying around.
Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. I'm glad it looks like that.
Yeah, one thing that I think is so cool about you, Ryan, is like how I always describe you to people is because, what's the best skateboarder? I always say that Ryan is the most creative skateboarder on the planet. And it comes through.
Thank you.
Anybody else care to chime in on just, Chris, say when you're doing one of your paintings, have you thought about what you're going to do, or does it you just start and then all of a sudden you get 5-6 hours later, a couple of days later, whatever it takes, you're like, whoa.
Yeah. It depends what I'm doing. Like if it's a canvas painting, like I'll plan it because I'm about to get engaged for months with this piece, so I might as well do it right. If it's a mural, I prefer to just get there, look at the wall, sit there, feel it out, and then stuff comes out and I do a quick sketch, and then from there I start figuring it out as it goes. But I know my steps, and I just follow them and try to get out of the way and let whatever has to be channeled through me be channeled. I still got the human filter in between, but try my best. I wish I had skateboarding skills like. Right.
You could skate. I've seen you skate.
I'm all right. I can do a couple tricks on the mini ramp.
I can skate too, but it's not like
right. This guy. There's a different thing when you got that ability, or fighters also. That's a different code that I don't even understand, or singing or dancing. But as long as we're just doing it, it doesn't have to be like the most amazing or professional thing in the world. You just gotta be like in the energy that's going through you. And I'm happy that I'm good at art, and I try my best to do it as service to, the Most High and our path going back to Source, in the ups and downs of this human experience we're living in right now. But yeah, that keeps me going, knowing that, we're just all going back home little by little, and whatever happens is good. Because there's no way not going back.
When did you first say you notice a flow state? Like, can you recall a time when you were a kid, or when art first came, or like where you lost track of time and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I just was somewhere else?
I don't know if I can remember my first flow state. I was just a weird kid. I grew up in Peru, in Lima, and all boys school, and you're supposed to play soccer, and I didn't care too much about soccer. Later on, I got into it, more of the street gang side of it, but not so much the playing. I'm not very good at sports. I'm not a good athlete. But I wanted to do the creative things, you know, like making robots out of junk, or drawing this, or, you know, constructing a clubhouse out of the furniture in my room. And I don't know why I want to do that. It's just kind of like in my coding, or maybe past life continuation of just being whatever the fuck I am and enjoying it. And yeah, the more I accepted it and the more I went with it, the happier I am. Because no matter how shitty life can be, I can always do my art and express it. Even if the painting expresses shittiness or sadness or frustration, still it's there to reflect myself and hopefully understand to some degree why life is how it is. And yeah, and be grateful. Be grateful for it all. So I'm really happy that I'm an artist, and yeah, I'm happy to do it. And if it can help other people, that's amazing, you know?
He's switching your mic out.
Check, check. There we go. I'm back. Celia, you've done so much through dance and movement and evolved. You know, when did you first get into dance? And did you experience moments of flow when you were dancing as you continue to gracefully continue down the road of movement, as movement keeps you young? Can you share some experiences you've had through dance?
Sure. I started dancing when I was 4, like a lot of kids do. They don't have a choice. They get sent to ballet class. And then I guess at some point I realized I enjoyed it. I can't say that I remember accessing states of flow at a very, young age. I think that flow is a natural state, actually, for human beings. And as we're all discussing accessing flow from quite a particular and high-level skill set, I think it's important to remember that flow can be accessed by us all. It's just, we have this saying in English to go with the flow, but how about just be the flow? Because you don't have a choice, And so finding flow, yes, skateboarding and creating amazing works of art and singing and making music and dancing, but just walking down the street, accessing flow. So yes, I have had moments of feeling this profound sense of being and non-being simultaneously, which I feel like is part of that flow state. When I'm on stage performing, or if I'm just creating choreography, where you notice that you're not doing something, you're being done. But it's the same sensation that can be accessed if you're just sitting in a chair and breathing, right? Are you breathing? Are you being breathed? And so you'd asked a question before about the darkness and what sort of inspires one out of it. And it's actually that simple practice, I think, of accessing the flow state, because you know that wherever you're flowing into, however deep down you feel like you're going, you're gonna flow out of it, because that's just the cycle, that's the nature of the energy, constantly being transferred and transmuted. Anyways, I'm blabbering. Did I answer your question? Yeah.
Blabber away, it's wonderful.
All right. I'm done,
yes.
I think.
For me, I guess the flow state thing is just when we play. I mean, it's that. But as a Stoic, my whole philosophy the past couple years has been really wrapped up in like, well, in the end we die, and what till then? And for me, that North Star has been beauty. I want my life to be beautiful. I want songs to be beautiful. And, and with that comes doing a lot of dumb shit. I like riding motorcycles. I like violence. I like food. I like sex, So it's these like, how do we live a life that's beautiful, that tastes good, that feels good? And yeah, part of the big transition that I'm in was a friend of mine had asked me, when was the last time you asked your heart what it wants? I was like, shit, I don't know if I've ever done that. So now I'm on this weird, like, inward journey of trying to figure that out. So my North Star right now is like, how can we make that process beautiful? Because the whole thing's beautiful. Like, even the shit that doesn't look beautiful, like, how many people go through a huge transition and go, man, I really wish that hadn't happened? It's like, no, it's like, in that battle, in that dark, is like, well, that's where we become ourselves. So I don't have much to say about flow state. It sure feels good playing music, and when I'm playing with my friends, we're there. That's what we do. But yeah, beauty, that's the North Star for me right now. And I think that will bring about a cool flow state if I'm using beauty as my North Star.
I mean, it sounds like we're all stepping into transition and the unknown somewhat, and reevaluating our lives, emerging different or changing, but still retaining our sole purpose here on earth. So do you ever, any of you can speak on this, once you start down this journey, it's like, oh yeah, I want to attain bliss, you know, oneness, Brahman, whatever, one with God, to connected. But can you stay there, or is this just going to be a constant until you are done on this planet, trying to, again, strive and evolve, whether it's through your art, which we can speak also on how you see art evolving, as, you know, sometimes you have to continue to change yourself, but also your artistic endeavors. So do you feel you can get to a place where you can just sit down on a rocking chair and go, I'm here, all right, I made it? Or is that only attained once we leave this incarnation and go to the next one?
Yeah. I know for me, it's the pursuit of the things that make me feel that, right? I feel it on a motorcycle, I feel it on the mat, I feel it when I'm singing. So it's just trying to model our lives around the things where we feel that connection, for me. Because no, I don't think you can hang there all the time. I think maybe Hunter did. Maybe Hunter S. Thompson did. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think so.
I think the fact that, like, keeping you grounded in the physical state is the human part of it that makes the flow state that beautiful and desirable. Because if you didn't have the contrast, then it would, if we're just always there, then it would just be the normal state. But that's...
Yeah, so I think it's like human to always want to step it up and get to the next level and do the bigger project and do the, you know, just go bigger and bigger all the time, because, like, I guess what else are you gonna do? Like, it seems like stagnant to just sit there and be like, well, I'm good enough, I'm satisfied, and, you know, just gonna plateau here and that's good enough, which is a really nice, relaxed state of being. It's like, hey, I'm really 100 satisfied with what I am right now, and nothing else. I don't have to one-up myself or anybody else at any point to know that I'm 100% amazing right now. This is it. It's like the clock on your kitchen with the now always, and it's always God expressing through you and all of us. But hey, we're in this video game right now. Might as well play it, you know? It's a virtual reality video game where we can do so many different things, and it's so fun, and we can express ourselves as all these weird humans and fight and rejoice and say, like, hey, here we are doing a panel talk. Hey. Cool. And then one day we go back outside of this bubble, and it's like, whoa, wasn't all that so amazing? And yeah, while I was there, sure, I'll go and eat some chocolate and try to get the next skate trick and do that most ambitious painting before I dies to, like, you know, say like, hey, I was here too. And then, you know, etc. So I think it's like in between being in that satisfaction of like, right now is amazing, but also like, tomorrow could also be amazing. Let's try to, you know, do that awesome too.
It's like the finite or infinite, you know, it's like the possibilities are infinite. And to be finite in a circle, stuck, you know, that's what a lot of humanity, I feel like a lot of society is kind of in that little circle, scared to step out of it. But all of us here and all of you have, you know, found like outside of that boundary is where true bliss, true enjoyment in life resides.
Right.
I think I was gonna say that it's, or for me, this understanding that we're just playing a game of the delusion of separation. And so if you said it, right, the video game, the virtual reality game, whatever, but if you realize or have some semblance of understanding that you can't get away from the connection, then you can drop into the separation and all of the stuff that comes with it, and then you have those moments of maybe grace where you realize, oh, we're not separate after all, and we can get beyond the delusion of the boundary of the skin even, and that's something that happens, I think, when you're in that flow state, that the skin's just not there anymore. And then if you keep going, then you get back to, as you're saying, you get back to source or whatever you want to call it. So when you're saying, do you sit in a rocking chair and you're like, oh, I made it. Made what? You didn't, there's nowhere to get to, right? We're here doing this thing, and we can play the game of there's somewhere to get to and have a lot of fun doing that, but there really isn't anywhere to get to, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a joke I talk about with Dell about getting into the jungle somewhere and just having a simple, meager living where every day is just simple. To me, that'd be an ideal place to land, but I know that would get boring. I know that I would get anxious to do something else or connect with someone else or find that next thing. So with you all being artists and obviously having shaken up society, you probably felt like you're alone and outcast at times, people not understanding you. How do you perceive your next step? Where do you feel you're going to take your next thing? What's the next thing you see, or is it you're not even going to fight it? You're just going to hands off the wheel and let it come to you?
I like to take things as they come. It seems to work better for me. I'm not a planner, so I don't know. That's my position. I just whatever's coming my way. I don't really think too much about cooking things up for the future. Just kind of trying to be here right now, at this point in time.
Yeah, similar. You're asking what's next. No, like my life has been, at least the last 2-3 years, as everybody else, a bunch of disillusions and castles crumbling down and having to start fresh. So, I'm about to move to a new state, I'm buying a house, and I just kind of I'll always be of service and I'll still want to be public, but it's less important to me. Being public to me is only important or relevant if it's to serve other people on their path. It shouldn't is a weird word, but I don't want it to be about ooh, my ego and I'm so cool and now I'm valuable because other people like me. I just want to be happy in that now of hey, here I am, tending my garden or painting the wall or whatever, living a simple life in the sun, painting paintings. That's good enough for me. It just doesn't have to be too complicated. This constant conquering mountains and the next and the next. If it becomes stressful, then why are you doing it? But I still want to paint because that's my nature, and I'm in my 40s. If a family happens, that's cool. If it doesn't, I also accept it. I also got to observe how the world is, what happens with the world. But I'm hoping to vibrate the positive timeline. If the timelines are actually splitting, I'd like to go to the good one where we figured it out and we made the planet a better place and free energy was released for us to use and we cleaned the water and we access a different vibration where we understand each other a little bit better and we stop dividing because of how we think we're different from each other. And that's the world I want to go into. So first and foremost, I just need to vibrate that inside myself, and hopefully that's what I will attract in my future.
So I want to expand on that. How do we start? Because everyone here seems to feel that and want the same thing, but you walk out on the street and you may see a different thing. You go through the airport, 10 o'clock at night last night, there's people lining up at McDonald's, eating shit and wondering why they feel like shit. And so how do we institute change, and how do how do we do that?
Make your bed.
I don't know.
Start with yourself.
Start by making
yourself.
brushing your teeth and make your bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I personally just want to let anybody else do whatever they do. If they want to eat McDonald's, if they want to be jerks, if they want to think totally opposite mind, that's their process. It has nothing to do with me. I wish them the best. They're also God, going for an experience, learning what it is to be that. God wants to have all the experiences, including the opposite of what we consider good or bad. And we got to respect that too. And that's the only way God, whatever it is, a gigantic, endless consciousness that knows it all, wants to throw itself in ourselves and not know anything and be a bunch of dummies and do a bunch of stupid things because it couldn't have that experience without us. We were giving it the gift of being this mess that we are. And still, it's our nature to be like, oh, I think I want to be good. I think I want to be loved. I think I want to go back to what I originally was. But that's the video game, you know? It's like a little step, life by life, day by day. And I just said everything, and I hope we can all go together back home as one happy family, but it might take a long time. Or maybe, you know, we'll get closer to the central sun of the galaxy, and that will raise the vibration and naturally give us more, you know, psychic powers to understand who we truly are and what we can manifest. I don't know, we'll see. But I hope for the best.
I lost the original question.
Whatever he said.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
There was something about next steps in art. Something about
Yeah,
what
I mean,
you're
or
creating
just
next.
following your
And-
desires
yeah.
to be a catalyst for change, and through your art, how do you see it evolving? You know, as a dancer and other artistic things you're involved in. I mean, do we merge these things together? I see there's attempts to merge music with art, with dance, and like continue to just push. What's the next thing with art and with dance, with movement?
I don't know. I think what comes to me is just the word authenticity, that each of us have to stand in our centers and not try to be anything other than what we are in the moment. And you shine your light out from that place and don't have any concern as to what an audience thinks, you know? So you don't make art for anybody else. Sorry, I'd love to make art for you. I mean, if you pay me, I probably could. I'd love to have a patron, but that sense of love of one's art, I think is connected to just the sense of the love of being, you know? So here I am in this moment being, and then whatever comes out of me is what comes out of me. And then that's just what it is. Then it's good enough in that moment. Yeah.
It reminds me of a sticker I saw in the bathroom that says, "Be yourself, get weirder."
I didn't see that one. Is that in the men's room?
It's in the men's
I'll
room.
go take a look.
And to that point, as we go out in the world, everyone's at their different stage too of enlightenment or development. So they may see a painting that you do, Chris, or watch you on a skateboard, or hear a song where you drew, and it may not make any sense at all. And then they kind of evolve, grow, mature, go through life's, you know, challenges or whatever life throws at them, and then all of a sudden, oh, light goes off. So I guess, you know, art maybe doesn't have to evolve, it just, the people evolve along with it.
Right, there's the individual evolution of the person making the art who then expresses a particular expression. And then there's the observer and what's their reaction to it. It's like, oh, this is such my vibe, I love this. Or like, I hate that, it's too colorful, it's too busy, it's confronting me. Both are good, because both are showing the individual who they are in reflection of that mirror. And in that way, the individual can like maybe question themselves, like, why am I annoyed by that? Why is that too busy? Maybe I'm a simpler person. Okay, now I understand myself better. So just a weird example, but yeah, art is there to express ourselves as individuals, and those who maybe don't do that, I hope everybody does, but it will help them also realize who they are.
Drew, you got anything to say down there?
I think for me the way is forward, because it's like, if you gave me $100 million this afternoon and then said, now what are you going to do? I would say, well, I'm going to make records and go on tour with my friends. So it's just what I am. I think that when you're an artist, it's just like, I don't know the world through any other lens than through creation, and then displaying said creation. Like, it's how I know what, like you said, it's the thing, like, see, I was here. So like, that's the path for me, is just trying to leave these footprints of service. Like you said, you know, if I'm writing and authentically expressing whatever it is I'm going through, other people that are going through things will use that. You know, that's been kind of the method of this band even working, is because I write these things, these like super vulnerable things. I'm like, I don't know, seem like an overshare to me. But then people can take what they need from it. So it's like, yeah, there's just no forward. Just keep creating, making things, because that's what I am.
Where's that inspiration come from? Is there a certain, like a kid? I know you have a son. And
yeah, I mean, I
family
think every once in a while a song presents itself that's like about something, but most of the time when I write, it happens really fast. Like he is talking, where you like just kind of look back, like, whoa, what the hell? Did I just do that trick? It's like the same thing, I sit down and this process starts, and then I blink, and then I'm like, whoa, shit, we just wrote a song. So I don't know where it comes from. It's just this weird thing in me that makes me write songs all the damn time.
And say you're on tour and you're missing home. Like what is a catalyst to drive you to continue on? What do you lean on? What helps you get through those times?
My joke this summer with a friend of mine back home is, I could have been a stonefly, but I gotta be a human. And what a cool fucking life, like had this reflection of this thing that I'm going through right now that feels so heavy and so hard. It's like, yeah, well, someone somewhere is going through that, and they're stuck behind a computer entering data for 8 hours. Like, you're traveling around in a bus with your best friends and singing songs. Like, sack up, kid. Could be a lot worse, So, like, just realizing that we can take inventory and realize what a blessing our life is, and that if we model our life around the things that bring us joy, whether that's fighting, whether that's painting, whether that's dancing, I think we just grow up in a world where we're told that, like, yeah, well, maybe, but you should probably have a backup plan. We're just like, no, you can model your life. This is your fucking video game. So that's my whole thing. That's always been my thing since I was young. Like, I saw the Hells Angels and the Grateful Dead in a magazine and said, somewhere in the middle of that Venn diagram is where I'd like to land. I just have always known I was a fucking kook. So that's it for me. Like, I'm just that fucking guy. And that everyone should try to be that thing. If you see something that makes your heart feel good, you should run headfirst into it. And if it kills you, what a beautiful death.
Was there anybody that would like to pose a question or have anything to say to spur on a little thought from these people up here?
I just, it's like this whole artist thing is so dope. I just got back with Burning Man for the 10th time. And, it's like what you guys are all saying. And I think for myself, I'm a love and communication coach. And so in my own journey, my own healing has been being authentic to myself, learning how to love myself first, and then communicate effectively, and then how that's translated into allowing myself to explore and try things, right? Burning Man itself, if any of you've ever been to Burning Man, it'll blow your freaking mind. You talk about like seeing community of people doing things and sharing and interacting with each other, and fully just like, it's so hilarious because if you've been to Burning Man, you have this understanding. It's like one of the world, It's just like, you're like, oh, okay. And so you'll see people there, they're like, hey, let's do this. And everybody there's like, yes, let's do it, let's go. People aren't like, no, we can't, no, that's too difficult, it's too hard, And you come back to this world, everybody, you try that, people are like, no, my God, what are you talking about, you're crazy, that's too hard, this and that. So when you're around community that's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Not only that, let's make it bigger, let's do this. And you start to get around those people, and then you're like, oh, this is what it is to have actual support. Like real support of each other's. You never say no. You're not like, no, we can't do it. You're like, yes, and let's do it like this, right? And so I would just say that's what I hear from you guys is like this constant, like, yes with yourself, and this, with all the different ways that we express ourselves. That for me, that's like self-love. That's loving ourselves and learning how to trust ourselves and express ourselves and not being ashamed to express yourself however it is fully in the world, and to share that, especially as an adult. Right? As kids, but to do it, to trust ourselves now as adults, I think it's just so dope. So thank you.
Thank you.
Drew, you mentioned like what drives you. I'd love to hear from the rest of the panel. Like, I love the evolved position to say I'm just gonna be present, things are gonna come through me. I think for you guys to operate as artists at your level, there's almost a bit of like an obligation to have impact on future art. I'm wondering if you ever feel that level of like, no, I had a lottery ticket to be able to pay my bills doing what I love. I need to go to work. Like, I can't just like sit on the couch
Yeah, definitely. Yes, let's be present, enjoy the moment, be who you are. But with great powers comes great responsibility. Right now, there's like it's the season finale of Humans, and we want to like do our best, try to make a good ending, and for that, in this spiritual battle between good and evil, which is all one. But we cheer for the love, we cheer for unity and less pain, at least. We accept pain too, and we surrender to it. But we got to be of service, and we got to work with community and help everybody on their path. Like whatever you learned, if you can use that to hand it over to your brothers and sisters so they can have it a little bit easier on their transitions to wherever they are on their personal path. I don't know. This is why we're here. We all should be healers. We all should be teachers, students. We should all do something other than taking care of ourselves. Yes, taking care of yourself, especially your spiritual process, is very important, but if you can pass it along and make the world a better place, that's like the Charlotte's Web story you're telling at the beginning. Okay, I can't remember the quote, but that was so beautiful. Like, what's the point of saving the world if you're not having a good time? Is basically the gist of it. So yeah, let's have a good time. Let's celebrate being alive. Let's give thanks for so many blessings we have all the time. And and let's help whoever we can along the path. That feels good too, that's selfish at the end of the day. Like, I feel good helping people. They're like, well, this person's happy because I helped them. Like, that makes me feel happy. So I don't know if it's selfish, but it's in our nature. So let's keep on doing it, I think.
There's something for me just about the times that I've tried to stop dancing. I should go work with my friend who's starting a venture capital company, or I need to be a mom, I should stop dancing, or I should study homeopathy, and all of those things I did. But something breaks inside of me when I don't. And I think that many people can relate to that, no matter what their passion is. We have this thing, you mentioned, when we're children, how are you going to make a living? I remember the day when my dad said that to me, how are you going to make a living? I was like, I don't know. And it's actually this weird guilt thing that we carry around, I think, as artists, a lot of us, into our adulthood. But when we try to get away from it, it's like a lion on your back. So get back over here and dance. And it's a life and death situation. It has been for me so many times where I have to dance. I don't have a choice.
I'm gonna just speak a little bit because I early on in my life came out of college, played the NFL, signed a multi-million-dollar contract, and I never had to struggle for money. It never was something like, I gotta go work. I played a game that I would have played for free, but they paid me way more than I thought they would. So financial freedom has set me on the path I'm on, where I didn't really take advantage of that. And I look around and see all this stuff that I have. I was talking with Kurt a little bit ago about minimalizing all of that so that we can actually free up our mental space and free up like this desire to I got to pay the bills, I got to feed people. Well, we can eat a hell of a lot less, and we don't need, as I look around, everyone's dressed pretty nice, has some nice boots. These boots are amazing, but do you need to spend that money on those boots? Really, we don't, to be happy, although we do as a society. So for me, it's I'm trying to slim down everything that does not serve me, that I don't need, that I haven't looked at for a year. Under my house is full of trophies and shit that doesn't even matter to me right now. And it feels like it's tethering me to this spot and this thing, this person that I was. Even though it helped me become who I am now, it still is this time that I can't go back to. So for me, I feel like we're all striving for more, and I want to make more. I want to have a job that pays me more. For what? To have more things to have to take care of when you really find yourself having very little free time to do the things you love. And I'm just now coming into that, and finally at 47 going, all this stuff really doesn't matter. I just want to do what makes me feel happy. I want to be with the people that make me feel good. I want to be open and on a vibration that allows me to meet more amazing humans. And when that happens and I'm in that state, I have nothing but pure happiness around me. Where I was struggling 4 years ago. With all of that stuff, financial freedom, I could get on a plane and fly anywhere in the world and not have to think about a budget, but get a hotel, everything, which causes a lot of people stress in this world. The finer things in life, they're nice, yes. It's always nice to have nice clothes and a nice bed, but really, do you even need a bed? We can sleep on the floor. It's just easy, blanket and pillow. You can learn how to be very minimalistic. So I think there's just this societal push to have more, consume, and I think we can find happiness with less. Just not any less mushrooms. You gotta have plenty of mushrooms. More mushrooms.
More mushrooms, less beds. That's your campaign.
Or
push.
a mushroom made out of a bed made out of mushrooms. Anybody out there? Yeah.
Could you address being in the zone versus the flow, or is there no distinction?
Yeah, I don't think there's any distinction. I think if there was, it would be more, in the zone. For me, when I was in the zone playing ball, I was carrying out a pre-orchestrated plan. But then when I would break that plan of being in the pocket and reading, 1, 2 to 3 and making my throws and just feeling it and seeing it and having vision and knowing where guys were moving, I would get in a flow state when I would break the pocket and be out on the move. Now everything is wiped clean, the slate's off. There's this has not been practiced or scripted or anything. This is just off the cuff. That was in the flow state for me, where I could be rolling to the right, guys chasing me, and I'd see all of you, and I'd be able to throw a ball in between three heads and hit a guy going that way against the grain, right in his numbers. Like, that was flow to me, and I don't know, just was something I was able to do. I think back to, I'd love to do a past life transgression back to see if I was maybe a phenomenal warrior that could ride on a horse and shoot arrows and hit targets as I was flying through stuff coming at me. Some high level, high sensory individual that's had that ability to focus in and be able to time throwing a ball in between these bodies, hitting the guy moving that way. And so I don't know, but there is definitely, I think, a difference between zone, as we talk with athletes in a zone. They are in a flow state, but they also are orchestrating something that's been practiced. That's maybe my differentiation.
So you guys have all achieved a super high level of success and mastery in your crafts. And the idea for maybe us mortals is learning new things, especially as we get older. So in your lives, are you stepping into any level of beginner mindset, learning anything new? How's that process been for you?
Yeah, for me, that's the only reason that I do jiu-jitsu in martial arts. You have a day on the mat where you're like, damn, I'm in here running game. And then I roll with my coach. I'm like, shit, man, I suck, And it's just the only thing I found where the odds of you not ever getting to have that beginner mindset you have to be a freak, Gordon Ryan exists, so he's a real person, I suppose, but the rest of us, it's no, dude, you're always going to get your ass kicked at the gym. That's just, so for me, that's such a huge part of my process, and that's why I am such a sucker for that game, it humbles me in a way, and it's a place where music doesn't matter, it's my thing, I'm not sharing my jiu-jitsu journey with anyone, it's mine, and it goes at my pace, and I get better when I say, so. For me, it's that, getting choked by my friends.
There's something about having kids, for me anyways, that really got me to that place of, oh, I can be a student again. Because they have plenty to teach me. And then when they try something new, I try something new. And it's one of the best things for them is to see that the adult in their life doesn't know and really sucks. And we can have a good laugh about it. And then there's another thing about teaching as well, so when you're teaching a craft that you've achieved a certain level of I don't like the word mastery, but skill at, then when you teach beginners, it helps you to come back to that place, which is humbling. And you get this whole different sense of appreciation for potentially where you're at, but then to help someone else along the way on their journey, if that answers some of the question.
Yeah, I hope to do the family thing one day. Sounds like a great experience.
You can borrow my kids, no problem.
Not quite yet.
They're potty trained. You'll be all right.
That's great. I'd always love to learn how to play music, but I never actually did it. I play records. But something that I think keeps my brain malleable is traveling. Not that I have done it that much in the last few years, obviously, but I just love throwing myself in a new environment where it's like new architecture and language and food and smells and everything's totally confusing, and I'm just like, where the fuck am I? Like, what's going on? And then you even forget who you are in the mix. And then you like slowly get used to it and you figure it out. And then if you throw yourself into another one, it's like, okay, now let's go to this place totally different. And then you're once again all confused. And yeah, because that was kind of like my childhood, like started growing in Canada, then they threw me in Peru. And as soon as I got used to Peru, they threw me back into Canada. And now, you know, I just moved to Denver, figuring out Denver, but moving next week somewhere else. And just, I don't know, just change keeps you kind of like on your feet. You know, it's like, okay, what's happening here? What's the vibe? What's the people? How to go along? But I love traveling. I hope I can keep on doing it in the next few years. Go to places that totally confuse me, and then slowly come out of the confusion and be like, another place, more humans, different expression of it, but the same in the end inside. So yeah, that's my fun.
I think comfort is uncomfortable for me, so I'm like addicted to the unknown. I'm perpetually like looking for something that I don't know how to do, and that could even be with skateboarding or with talking with these ideas that we're sharing right now. It's kind of always manifesting. I think I'm just kind of always chasing the question mark.
I just got back from yoga teacher training because for years I wanted to dive deeper into what that's all about. Believing at first it was just movement, and realizing that it's more about becoming aware of your consciousness and you're one with everything. So I was, in an uncomfortable position, going down as the only male enrollee in the school. So being able to hold a very divine masculine position around some amazing divine feminine, and be able to learn and grow, and as you just said, not be comfortable. For years was kind of complacent because it's not like my life was easy, but I didn't have to go work for money. I didn't have to go do much. And so now I'm coming into a place where I want to learn more. I want to go from now learning, a little bit about yoga to learning more about all of the other modalities that go along with it, whether that's reflexology, pranayama, breathing, all kinds of stuff. So again, as Celia said, having kids, you want to be an inspiration to them. You want them to look at you and see you, hey, I can't do this. I got to go work on what I'm following, what I'm pursuing in life. And so for me, I've got a long list of things, but I've got to realize it's just one step at a time, one thing at a time, and being in the present moment and diving into what I feel is right for me at this exact moment. I mean, mushrooms have been one of those things too, to dive into learning how to grow mushrooms, learning more about this amazing queendom that's we know so little. So what I do know is way more than most of humanity, but is not that much compared to Paul Stamets, my ecologist. But that's okay. He's on his level, I'm on mine. And what we can share through that is the beauty of what we're here for, is to share this ancient knowledge. And I'm not learning it, I'm just letting it come through me. Mark?
I appreciate all of your shares on the flow state. So I was wondering, a lot of you said if I get out of my own way, right? So I was wondering, how do you deal with self-sabotage? When you're creating your art, maybe even when you're live on stage, how do you mentally block out that self-sabotage voice inside?
Yeah, I would say on stage is the only time that I'm able to block out that person. It's the other 22 hours of the day that get real tricky. Yeah, no one knows how to fuck me up like I do. So I can't really speak to that.
I just keep my kids busy. No, they don't sabotage, but they, being a father, you want to be involved with their kids. You want to do a lot of stuff with them when they're young, but sometimes that can be an excuse to keep me from going and doing what I feel I need to do. And so coming to that step in my life and maturity where I can say, hey, let's spend some quality time together, but I'm gonna be gone for a few weeks to go do what I want to do, what I know I need to do. And as hard as that was, I found myself at peace through most of it, feeling not very little self-sabotage, actually being able to control it because it was calm, it was quiet. I was in a place where I could concentrate, channel the powers I know that I have and that we all have if we just remember them.
For me, it's just like observation. I observe myself and my different aspects of myself all the time. I can see the good side of me that wants to love and give, the angry side, the insecure side, the side that self-sabotages. And if you can identify it and you're like, oh, there it is, and it's saying something stupid in my ear, and I'm like, I don't agree with that, quit it, and it'll still go in as it's like, okay, I got ya, I just spotted ya, and you can talk all you want to talk, but I'm gonna keep on doing my thing. I know from which side I want to act from. I want to act from my higher self, my God self, my love self. Try your best, but it's all about this constant present of okay, where I am, what am I thinking, who's influencing me, and ideally we can listen to the better parts of ourselves and act from there. And when we don't, just also forgive ourselves for being human and going along with emotions and the other million demons we got inside, but just with acceptance and forgiveness, we try our best. For figuring.
I think that I have not tamed my self-sabotage. I've made friends with it. It's kind of like a part of the whole thing now. When I'm skating, something will tell me that this is going to go really wrong. But every time that I don't listen to that voice, it's usually gone well, an hour after that or something. But yeah, my craving for destruction kind of makes something new in the end is kind of what I'm getting at.
That destruction is destruction of ripping in the environment, or also destroying a version of yourself to create the new version of yourself.
Something like that, destroying the known with my unknown. It's
very meta.
We'll have time for just one more. Go ahead.
Meditation.
Any beyond our craft, any daily rituals or anything you do daily to help you through life?
Yeah, I wake up in the morning and go straight to my yoga practice, even if I have 5 minutes, if I'm waking up late. But that's a constant, the yoga practice and the meditation. And then I repeat the same thing at night right before I go to bed. And then there's spiritual practice, which is this constant awareness of thought and making choices in the moment during the day. But that stems from a study of different people who I admire and whose teachings I then incorporated into my life. So yeah, there's just consciousness. And if we don't employ consciousness, then we're just sleepwalking our way through life. So that's my way of just tapping into the consciousness.
Yeah, exercise is a big one for me. It's been lacking the past few weeks and getting in the flow of being on tour again. But yeah, when I'm home, I wake up very early and I try to be at the gym before my brain is actually awake, so I can't talk myself out of going.
So my goal is to be present as much possible, to once again observe what voices are influencing me and allow the better ones to win the battle of who is driving Chris. But there's different moments in my day that I'm not present, and that people piss me off, and then, or that I'll have looping thoughts, like my mind will just catch something that triggers me, and I'll just start grinding on it and grinding on it, and just like, fuck, shut up, stop. So my personal practice that I do, I like to do rapé, which is it's like this like ashes of tobacco and herbs from the rainforest, and you kind of like chew that up your sinuses, and it's quite sharp. It's not psychedelic, it's not illegal, it's tobacco. You know, it's grandfather tobacco, and it kind of just stops the train. Whatever's happening in my mind, it's just kind of like, shut the fuck up. And then I imagine, like, you know, the spirit pushing away all these just mess of thoughts in my brain. It's just let me be right now. Shh, just be. And then in that place from being, I can start listening to my guides and my higher influencers inside me, and what they want to tell me is like, Chris, everything's okay, everything will be all right. Don't freak out. Don't grow these negative emotions. And it's just kind of like, it purifies me, it cleanses me. So I do that, you know, once or twice a day, depending what I need. But if I'm having a bad day, I might have to do it more, and then I clog my sinuses, and that's not good neither. But you know, just try not to be too addictive to it. You know, we all got our own vices, but yeah. So that's my way to kind of like induce a state of meditation and presence and oneness to, you know, try my best.
I do kirtan, which is like I sing with my harmonium. That keeps me grounded. Yeah, it's powerful.
I wake up and breathe, move a little bit, brush my teeth, and drink some water. Face the day. So, with that said, we have to wrap because we got another panel coming up. Thank you for the questions, great insight and thoughts. There's going to be a chance to communicate with the panelists as we mingle. Thank you all for sharing such amazing thought and wisdom, and thank you, everybody.